So in the last lecture we have seen that the basic terminologies of the materials, that is the photon, phonon and exciton, and after that we see how the atom, which is a basic building block of the material, is going to help in deciding the electrical properties of the material. And we realize that basically the electrons, they are responsible, the outermost electrons basically they interact with other atoms, okay, when they are in the lattice, and depending upon their interaction, there is a formation of different types of bonds, and these bonds and are going to decide the electrical conductivity of the materials. Then we also try to understand how the resistivity, which changes of about 25 orders of magnitude, okay, when we travel from the class of metals to semiconductor to insulator, so there is a change in the order of resistivity of the materials. And then lastly we see that the different materials have different electron densities, and these electron densities is also contribute in the electrical conductivity of the materials. Now in this lecture we are going to learn a very fundamental theory which is called as a free electron model, and this is proposed by the scientist Paul Drude, and that's why we also call this model, free electron model, as Drude theory of conductivity. Okay, so this Drude theory of conductivity is basically going to help us to understand that how there is an electrical conductive, what is the electrical properties of metals. Okay, basically this theory is very useful for to understand the electrical properties of metals. And as you can think about that, we have different metals, right, like gold, okay, silver, copper, aluminium, right. But even though all are metals, okay, uh, their electrical conductivity is different because their resistance is different. Okay, so how to understand that even if all are metals, then still there is an difference in the electrical conductivity of these metals. So to understand that, basically the Drude theory help us that what is the reason behind the different conductivity of metals. So as far as the material is concerned, again, okay, particularly metal, it is made up of an atoms, right? So you can see that there is a schematic image on the top of this slide, okay, where you can see that the atoms are situated in the lattice, right? And as I said, the electrons, the outermost electrons, okay, they start to interact with the neighboring atoms, right? So the cores of these atoms are positively charged ions. The core of the atom is positively charged ions, okay, and what you can see is the dark that is represented with the red colored red colored sphere with plus sign, okay. So these are the positive ions, okay, and then you can see that there is a gray colored circle, okay, gray colored, okay, gray colored region around these positive ions. So these are nothing but the core electrons. Core electron means the electrons which is close to the nucleus. Okay, and then this blue colored minus sign is shown. Okay, blue colored minus sign is shown, and these are nothing but the valence electrons. Okay, these are nothing but the valence electrons. Okay, so this is the situation in the metal. Okay, as per the Drude, okay, this is the situation of the atoms and core electrons and valence electrons in the metal. Okay, so Drude theory is the simplest theory of conduction in metals. Okay, based on non-interacting gas of electrons. Okay, so basically, because the electrons, okay, he assumed that there are several assumptions for this Drude theory. So if we want to understand the electrical properties of metals, then we have to assume several things. Okay, so first thing is that what that we have to assume is that the electron gas, he called that these valence electrons is nothing but the electron gas, free electron gas. Okay, and we call this as a free, okay, because they are not interacting. They are non-interacting electrons. Okay, so they are just free to move in everywhere. Okay, and they are not interacting with with the ion cores or with other electrons. So that's why we call this as a semi-classical model. Okay, so another assumption is that each metal ion donate, okay, each metal ion donate one or two or three electrons to the sea. Now sea is, this is our normal sea. You know, the you have gone to the beach, right, to see the sea. Okay, so that is nothing but the sea of water, right? Now here you can assume we also call this gas of electrons, non-interacting gas of electrons, is the sea of electrons. Okay, is a sea of electrons. So uh, each metal ion, okay, donate one or two or three electrons to this sea of electrons. They shield positive cores from mutually repulsive Coulombic forces. So of course there is a Coulombic forces between the positive and negative cores, but there is no interaction between the ion cores because they shield these positive cores from mutually repulsive Coulombic forces. Okay, so they shield these positive ions, and because of that there is a Coulombic forces, they get balance and they are not interacting, no more interacting. So this is the assumption of the Drude theory. These electrons are assumed to be free to move, though the whole solid, that is free electron cloud, gas or Fermi gas. Okay, so these electrons, these free electrons, okay, they are free to move anywhere in the solid. Okay, so it is not like they are just traveling, okay, to the region around that atom only. Okay, so the valence electrons which are donated by some atom, they are able to free all over the material, all over the solid material. Okay, and that's why we call this as a free electron gas. This is again an assumption of this theory, Drude theory of conductivity. Now potential field due to ion cores is assumed constant. So there is some potential, okay, is generated because of this positive ion core. Okay, but it is assumed to be constant. It is not going to change. So potential energy of electron is not a function of position. Okay, so it is assumed to be constant, and it is not a function of position, means it is higher in one at one end, it is lower on the other end. It is not like that. It remain constant everywhere. Okay, so all these we are discussing are nothing but the assumptions of this Drude theory. And as I said, the electrons are assumed to free to move through the solid, so that is shown in this figure. Okay, you can see that these free electrons can move from any end to any other from any location of the material to any other location of the material. Okay, so that is what we are trying to assume. It ignores the presence of the iron cores, that is the crystal lattice. Okay, so even if there is some um, iron cores are present at the center of the atoms, okay, so they are not interacting with these atoms, so it ignores that kind of a charge, okay, in the crystal lattice, and that is why it is treated as a free electrons. So the outermost electrons of the atoms take part in the electron conduction. Okay, so as we have shown in the above figure, that only valence electrons shown by this minus blue colored minus sign, they are everywhere, you can see. Okay, basically they are treated as a free electron, and they are valence electrons are nothing but the outermost electrons of the atoms. So the excess energy acquired by the electrons in the electric field is due to is lost. Okay, so the excess energy acquired by the electrons in the electric field is lost to the atoms of the conductor when the electrons and atom collide, causing heat in the metals. So suppose if you apply some external electric field, then what happens? Then the electron get excess energy. Okay, because of this applied electric field. Okay, so so that excess energy is get lost because of the collision. So there is a collision. So this is an important aspect here, that the electrons, they start to collide. Okay, so the electron start to collide with the atoms. Okay, and because there is a collision, the energy get lost. Okay, and we know that the according to law of conservation of energy, that lost energy, okay, is get converted into heat energy. And because of that, suppose you have a metallic wire, and if you pass the if you apply the electric field across this wire, so if you connect a battery across it, then the current start to flow through the wire, and you also feel that the wire get hot. Okay, the temperature of the wire get increase slightly. So why it is? Because of that, because of this electron atom collision. Okay, so now uh, let us assume, okay, what is happening with this free electron gas inside the material. In the absence of an electric field, when there is no electric field, okay, still the electrons are free to move everywhere. Okay, and they are moving with velocity v. So v is the natural velocity of the electrons, because they are free to move in the metal, and because of that their velocity is treated as v, simply v. So this is an v is the velocity of the electrons in the absence of an electric field. But when we apply electric field, then the conduction of electron moves with the velocity which is called as a drift velocity. Okay, so it's a velocity slightly get increased, right, because we have applied external potential, external electric field, and because of that what happens, its a velocity has got changed, and that we call that velocity as a drift velocity, and it can be represented with the term vd. So vd means it is a drift velocity. So that is the velocity of the electron in the presence of an electric field, right? So we assume that the electron's motion after collision is independent on its motion before collision. Okay, again this is an assumption of Drude, is that the electron's motion after collision is independent on its motion before collision. So before collision and after collision, they are independent on each other. The motion of electron before collision and motion of electron after collision, they are independent on each other. Okay, so the excess energy acquired by the electron in the electric field is lost during the collision, causing the increase in the temperature of, causing in the increase in the temperature of the conductor. So this is what I discussed in the last slide, is that this because of this collision, this excess energy which is acquired by the electron, because its velocity has got increased, okay, but after collision what happens, that energy get lost in the form of an heat energy, okay, and because of that the temperature of the conductor increases. Okay, so now let us assume this phenomena in the material. Okay, now suppose we have a wire, okay, and A is the cross sectional area of this wire, okay, and Q is the charge of electron, okay, Vd is the drift velocity, and N is the number of charge carriers per unit volume. Okay, N is what? The number of charge carriers, that is the electron density, right, per unit volume. So the current can be calculated as I is equal to NQA into Vt. Okay, so this is what simply you can calculate how much current can flow if through the material. So if we are aware, we know about this number n, okay, q, which is constant, a, and vt, then we are able to calculate the current which is flowing through the material. Okay, now here you can see that this situation is shown here, okay, because this is the conductor, a is the cross sectional area, q is the charge of the electron, okay, vd is the drift velocity, okay, and if we apply an electric field, then this electron they are moving from one end to another end, and they just collide with the atoms. Okay, so this can be more discussed again here. So here you can see that based on this we are trying to understand the terms mean free path and drift velocity. Okay, so in the presence of an electric field, okay, the electron velocity increases, okay, above its usual velocity is v, but when we apply electric field, then its velocity get increased. That amount of increase in the velocity is called as a drift velocity. It is represented with vt, right? So this is what we already discussed in the last slide. The velocity is lost on collision with obstacles, right? So the average time, okay, between collisions is called as mean free time, right? Because see, there are collision, right? Now let us try to understand this based on this figure. Now you can see that suppose if we consider the distance of vd is constant, okay, so if we apply, so v is the velocity, okay, in the absence of an electric field, but when we apply the electric field, then there is a drift velocity, we call an additional different velocity, which is called as a drift velocity. Now the electron is moving, initially its velocity is v, but when we apply the electric field, then its velocity start to reaches to the vt. Once the velocity is reaches to vt, there is some collision. Once it collide, then its velocity become v, right? Again it travel, it keep moving, because it is free electron, again it collide. Okay, so if we see that there is a lot of collisions are happening in the path of electrons, okay, so we have to understand that. So what is time, mean free time? Mean free time is the time, average time between the collisions. Okay, so that is called as the mean free time, and it is represented with the symbol tau. Okay, and the average distance which is traveled in during this period is called as the mean free path. Okay, so the average distance which is traveled during this mean free time is called as mean free path. Okay, so I is equal to vd into tau, right? So I is equal to vd into tau. Okay, so that you can you need to remember that when you apply external electric field in the metal, then the electron they start to collide. Okay, and the time between the collision is called as mean free time, and the distance which is traveled by this electron during the mean free time is called as mean free path. Okay, so these are very important terms. Okay, and based on that, once you know the drift velocity and mean free time, then you are able to calculate the current. Right now, this is simple to understand, that we know that force is equal to mass into acceleration, right? So force is equal to, in this case, force is equal to m, right, and v d upon tau. So acceleration is v d upon time, tau, right? Yeah, and this force F in this case is because of the electric field. Okay, and that electric field is applied on the electron, so it is related to the charge of the electron. So the force which is acting on the electron is E bar, okay, capital E into small e. So capital E represents the externally applied electric field, and small e is the charge of the electron, right? So m into Vd by tau is equal to capital E into small e, right? So from that we are able to calculate the value for Vt. So the drift velocity Vt is equal to E bar small e tau divided by m, right? So here Vd is the drift velocity, tau is the average collision time, or we can also call as a mean free time. What we can see from this equation is that applied electric field E bar is constant, charge of the electron is constant, mass of the electron is constant, so drift velocity is directly proportional to the mean free time. Okay, this is very important conclusion, that the drift velocity is not depends on the electric field. Okay, it is depends on the mean free time. Okay, so the drift velocity is directly proportional to the mean free time of the material. Okay, so if the mean free time is more, the drift velocity is higher. Okay, so that is the proportionality constant. Now we have to correlate this mean free time with the conductivity. So the flux due to flow of electrons, that is the current density. So how much current is passing per unit area is the current density. Okay, that is represented with Je, right? So the current density is nothing but the electric current per unit area. So J is the current density, I is the current, but when we say current density, we have to use the different notation J. So J is equal to I upon A. I is the current, A is the area. Now we know the value of I from our previous slide, that is NQA Vd divided by area. So area get cancelled, okay, and so current density is equal to NQ into Vt, and that can be expressed in terms of free electron density, right? So we have now what we have equation, Je is equal to, E is just representing the electron, the current density because of electron. So Je is equal to Ne Vt, which is equal to, now we know the equation for Vt, we are going to insert it here. So we have an equation for J, which is equal to Ne square tau E bar divided by m. Okay, where this n is the number of free electrons. Now conductivity, okay, this is the what we calculated in this equation is the current density. Now we have to correlate this with the conductivity. So conductivity is nothing but flux, that is the electron density per unit potential gradient, that is the electric field. So J is equal to sigma into E, right? J is equal to sigma into E. So this is very fundamental equation, okay, and this is which we are just revising it here just to understand the basic principles of electrical properties of material. So J is equal to sigma into E. So sigma is nothing but J upon E. Put the value of J and E, then E get cancelled, and sigma is equal to N E square tau divided by M. This is very important equation where you can see that again here n, that is the number of free electrons, it is not going to change, it will remain same, it is constant, E is constant, M is constant. So again here the conductivity is directly proportional on the mean free time, right? So mean free time is proportional to Vt. So the conductivity is directly dependent on mean free time and drift velocity. Okay, this is, please keep this in mind, that the conductivity is directly depends on what? Mean free time and drift velocity. Okay, we have in the last slide we have shown that the mean free time is directly proportional to drift velocity, and here we have shown that the conductivity is directly proportional to the mean free time. So if the mean free time is more, then conductivity is more. Mean free time will be more if the drift velocity is more. Okay, so that is what you have to keep in mind. Okay, now here we come to know the answer of our question, that even if we have the different metals like gold, silver, copper, aluminum, why their electrical conductivity is different, then here we can understand the electrical conductivity of metals based on this drift velocity and mean free time. Okay, so mean free path, that is the L of the electron in reality. So this is the mean free path, L is equal to Vt into tau. So if mean free path is more, okay, when it will be more? When the drift velocity will be more and mean free time will be more. So L is equal to Vd into tau. Okay, so the mean distance traveled by an electron between successive collision. Okay, so how much distance, okay, mean how much distance which is traveled by an electron between successive collision, or the distance traveled by the electron in during the duration of mean free time is also called as mean free path. Okay, so for an ideal crystal, if there is no imperfection, there is no impurity, okay, then the mean free path at 0 Kelvin is infinite, because there will not be collision. Okay, if there is no collision, then we cannot define the length. So ideal crystal, there is no collision, and therefore the conductivity will be also infinite. So ideal crystal means without any defect, without any imperfections, without any impurity in the material. But it is not possible. There is nothing like an ideal. Okay. So therefore, of course, there is a lot of collision centers are available in the material, and therefore there are a lot of scattering centers, we also call it as a collision centers or scattering centers. They are available in the material, and because of that their mean free path goes down. Okay, and because mean free path goes down, their mean free time goes down, and because mean free time goes down, the conductivity goes down. Because the number of scattering center is higher. If the number of scattering center is higher, mean free path goes lesser. Mean free path is less means the mean free time is less. Mean free time is less means conductivity is less, because conductivity is directly proportional to mean free path and mean free time, right? And but resistivity is increases. Conductivity decreases means resistivity increases. They are opposite to each other. So if the number of scattering centers are higher, then the conductivity is lower, resistivity is higher. Okay, so that is just shown small in the schematic view, that you have a microscopic view where we are not able to see the flow of electrons, but when we see at the nanoscale, we realize that the electron is just scattering randomly. Okay, and because of that a large number of collisions are happening, and because of that it has certain drift velocity and mean free path. So here you can see that the different metals, okay, the different metals have different mean free path. For example, if you take gold or silver, its a mean free path is 50 nanometer. Okay, this here the region of nanometer comes in picture. So you can see that the mean free path lies in the range of nanometer. right? This is an important thing. Okay, so the mean free path for gold or silver is 50 nanometer, whereas the mean free path for copper is 39 nanometer. For aluminum it is 15 nanometer, right? So you can see that the aluminum has higher resistance compared to gold and silver. Gold and silver has better conductivity compared to copper and aluminum, right? So based on this you can try to understand how the different metal different metal has different resistances. And important message from this mean free path from this slide is that the mean free path lies in the range of nanometer. Okay, so so this is what the Drude theory of free electron model. And what we can see that there is some success of this theory, and this success is listed here, where you can see that the conductivity or resistivity is not depend on the strength of applied electric field. Okay, this is very important. Okay, it is not depend on the strength of applied electric field, but it depend on mean free path or mean free path length. It is used to explain the electrical and thermal conductivities of metal. Okay, so if the electrical conductivity is higher for metal, why it is higher, you can understand, because it's a mean free path is higher, right? And similarly the thermal conductivity also we can try to understand. So Drude's theory gives a reasonable picture for the phenomenon of resistance. Drude's theory quantitatively explain Ohm's law. So this is what this is the explanation for Ohm's law, that linear relationship between the electric field and current density. So this is the success of Drude electron model, but this is not the complete picture. We also come to know that there are some problems with the Drude theory. And what are these problems? The electrical conductivity values predicted by Drude model are about an order of magnitude smaller than the experimental values. So there is no exactly match with the resistance which calculated with by this Drude model and experimentally observed. So there is slight error is observed. From the classical free electron theory, the value of specific heat of metal is given by 4.5 R. Okay, so this is the value which is this is the value of specific heat of metal. Okay, where R is the universal gas constant, but the experimental value of specific heat is nearly equal to 3R. Okay, so again there is a mismatch. So the specific heat of metals given by Drude theory is 4.5 R, but experimentally it is 3R. With the help of this model, we can't explain the electrical conductivity of semiconductor and insulator. We can accept this theory only for metals, but that is not the case for semiconductor or insulator, right? And therefore we cannot understand the electrical conductivity of semiconductor or insulator, because there is no free electrons in the semiconductor or insulator. In the ferromagnetism cannot be explained by this theory. Now ferromagnetism, what is ferromagnetism? Everything we will look in the our chapter, the magnetic properties of nanomaterial. But here just keep in mind that the ferromagnetism of metal, okay, like cobalt, nickel, these are ferromagnetic materials, right? These are ferromagnetic materials. So even though both are metal, like the cobalt is and nickel both are magnetic in nature, but they have different ferromagnetic properties. Okay, why they are different? That cannot be explained by this theory. At low temperature, because low temperature means if we go to below room temperature, the electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity vary in different ways. Okay, it is not like linear. Okay, it vary different in different paths, but as per free electron theory, it is constant in all temperature. So what free electron theory is assumed that the resistance should remain constant, because there is no temperature factor is observed in the equation, right? There is no temperature factor which is observed in the equation of conductivity, right? And that's why the Drude theory assumed that the resistance of the metal is remains same for all temperature, and it is also unable to explain the photoelectric effect and black body radiation effect. So these are two most popular effects which you will learn in the quantum mechanics, right? This is the fundamental first step of the quantum mechanics, where the photoelectric effect and black body radiation effect is discussed, and these two effects cannot be explained based on this Drude model. So there are some drawbacks of this Drude theory. There are some success for this theory. Okay, so we will see more advanced theory based on the Fermi-Dirac statistics in our next lecture. Thank you.